that we can convey our needs and the airport's needs effectively to City Council. I think it goes without saying we've got obviously issues like this. We've got significant issues that are coming down the road. I propose that we relook at board compositions. Right now it's fairly vague. There really aren't a great deal of requirements other than that board members are in Wasatch County, so we don't even really have residency requirements, at least as far as some of that interpretation is concerned. And I think that's that we can clarify that so that we can make and propose an efficient board structure. I put in my email that I would like to propose that we do require City Council representation so that we can convey these needs more appropriately to City Council. It's not unusual for City Council members to serve on boards. It's a fantastic, I believe, use of our time, and we come out much more educated and able and prepared to make critical decisions. And from what I've witnessed, the airport is a significant asset to the city. Some may argue it's a financial drain, some may argue that it's a positive thing. Regardless, we have a financial obligation, a significant one. I think being able to represent the taxpayers that we understand and that we've made these decisions with the ability to look at all the matters at hand, especially from an elected official, having representation on this board, I think is very important. Obviously, I don't think there's been much influence I've had on this board, but then that's up to you guys. If that is a conflict, along with the 2 City Council representation, I'd also propose that we amend the bylaws to require at least 2 Heber City residents to be on the board. So the 2 City Council plus the 2 Heber City, that would constitute 4, which would be then make the majority of the board representative of Heber City. Simply because it is a Heber City financial obligation that we have. So I think it's appropriate that we have the board comprised, the majority of which are Heber City residents. Being said, I think we do need representation from members at large who represent either surrounding communities or surrounding counties, whether that's Summit County, whether that's Wasatch County, whether that's Charleston, Daniel, Wallsburg. So I would support and recommend that we have 2 positions that are constituted at large that can be fulfilled by those individuals. And then finally, reserving a spot for the FBO so that we can go through some of the policies that do affect the FBO. And correct me if I'm wrong, we do have, remind me again, isn't there terminology that states that if certain changes are made, we still need to go to the FBO anyway?
That relates to, I want to say the airport minimum standards as it relates to the FBO agreement.
I think there's verbiage in there that the change in minimum standards requires, I don't know the exact wording, but basically FBO cooperation or consent or something.
We have already, so as part of our process, we already have the requirements to have the FBO, and I found that having the representation helps speed this process along. So I think it's important to have them as on the board. Again, having been on the board both with their presence and without, I feel we've been able to accomplish more. Those are the recommendations I've made to the board. I would love to hear your feedback. See if we can come up with a recommendation we can provide to amend the bylaws if we feel it's necessary. Any comments? The floor is yours.
So will that increase the composition from, what is it?
It's currently 7. It will remain at 7.
Oh, it'll remain at 7.
Yeah. It wouldn't increase membership, it's 7.
Who's leading?
Depending on, well, there's basically at this point 2 seats that are open. So Tom has moved on. If we go with 2 city council representation, then as the bylaws reflect that, the mayor would choose which 2 council members should serve, and that would be presented to city council. If we choose, it really comes down to what we put into our bylaws and recommend to city council, and then ultimately city council would.
Yeah, I guess my point was, I mean, if you add the other council person right now, we're at 7. So we don't have, you know, somebody would have to leave, or we have to increase the number in order to get the at-large.
So we would look at the composition, we'd have to see if that would fit the qualifications.
I mean, I agree with what you stated thus far. I'm just looking at the numbers, and my fingers say that's like 8 at least. You know,
I think it works. And you and Jeff could be the Heber City representatives. You're both residents of Heber City. And Naveen would represent the FBO, and Carrie and Mel could be that large one. You know that candidate, Carrie.
Yeah.
But so your specific question, if I understood it, is whether that composition that you just mentioned, does that make sense? Is that what we're...
Yeah, if there's any concerns, you guys have any feedback, an alternate proposal?
You know, I think at the end of the day, it depends on what the city council wants to get out of the airport board. I mean, of course, it's not a legislative body, it's an advisory body. City council then can decide to do what they think is best for the city. You know, take or reject the advice of the airport board. So I think that what you suggested makes sense. I mean, you need representation, obviously, locally, so you different entities, but I think you need you know, some level of aviation expertise as well. Some of these things are very specific to the industry, and they get to be a little technical. So it's hard to get through them sometimes without some technical knowledge. So I think that helps. I think probably the most important thing is the understanding that with the different groups there's going to be some conflict, and that conflict needs to be you know, addressed clearly and not influence votes or influence the way. I mean, we got stakeholders, whether it's the FBO, whether it's a hangar owner, whether it's inherently is there. And I think that's a very important part of the board that that be laid out early on and not allow that to influence you know, votes.
Okay, so to outline what you've said, first we have the issue. The first issue, kind of break this down. The board's feeling on breaking it down by 2 city, 2 Heber, 2 at large, 1 FBO. Next, do we want to introduce requirements as far as aviation experience to the board requirements? Are you suggesting we add that, or?
Well, I think it'd be an additional qualification. I mean, if you have to choose between 2 people that are city residents and one has aviation experience of some kind, it's probably helpful to advise the board to have that person, you know, on. I'm not saying everyone needs to have it, but I think it's important to have some level of aviation, airport operations experience in order to get technical advice. If that's what the council is looking to get out of the board. If the council is looking to get input on, you know, people's opinions based on stakeholders, hangar owners, residents, that's a different issue. I mean, it's important to the equation, but at the end of the day, I think there's specific technical advice with regards to airport development, with regards to funding, with regards to understanding the documents, with regards to you know, lease applications, all these things that we have been dealing with. So to have some level of expertise in that area is helpful. Whether that is, you have it before, or whether that's acquired through the process, you know, some necessary required, you know, reading, so to speak, some issues one needs to be familiar with in order to function on that board. I think I would emphasize that expertise.
How about this? How about all recommendations provided to City Council will include whether or not they have aviation experience. That has to be presented with the name.
And that's a way to address it. Yeah, so it's the council can choose, you know, put somebody name forward, say they have experience on an aviation role somehow.
So it's not
It doesn't mean they're excluded,
yeah.
no, but it's helpful to know whether they have some background in these issues
property or ownership interests they have at the airport? Should that be required to be?
I don't think that should eliminate anybody, but I think that should certainly eliminate anybody from voting on an issue. Meaning I can't vote on, an FBO lease extension. I can put something forward and I can participate in the discussion. But I think it's very important to eliminate votes from people that have a conflict.
Well, that would be covered over, I want to make sure we're focused here. So as far as defining the composition of the member, any interest in the airport should be clearly disclosed in that recommendation as well.
Yes.
So we're not just getting a name, we're getting aviation experience, whether they have it or not, we're getting whether or not they have interest, ownership, any kind of interest in the airport, what is the nature of that interest? Okay.
That should be done legally.
Oftentimes it's not.
Yeah, but it should be going